All right, ma'am. My name is Dr. Trong Phan. I'm a resident of City of Irving, and I'm one of your constituents, of course. And thanks for your time today. And from an Irving citizen point of view, I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for your leadership as the mayor of Irving City from 2011 to 2017. I remember your vision and your hard work have paid off. City of Irving is not just known for its beauty. Our city has become a center of cultural, educational, and economic forces in North Texas. And my three kids went, and one of them still going to University of Dallas.
Excellent.
Yes. And I believe my little girl is known your daughter.
Yes, yes. Is she getting ready? Is your daughter getting ready to graduate?
Yes, yes. My son, actually, my daughter just graduated.
Excellent. Yeah, she's graduating on Sunday. Yeah.
Yes. But ma'am, we are here today. It's not about Irving or about me, but about an issue that is very close to our hearts. And because all of us here today were once a political refugee. Our father generation fought alongside the U.S. Armed Forces in Vietnam to protect the freedom and independence of South Vietnam. And after the fall of Saigon, we escaped the oppression of communist regime. We found asylum in this great city and this great country and became contributory citizen. Like myself, I served the U.S. Air Force Engineering Corps for 33 years. And thanks for that opportunity to serve.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you. We contributed to national defense and peacekeeping mission abroad. Therefore, we would like the
alert from Duyne Business. A new version is now available to install. Please update the app.
I'm sorry, is that Zoom remind me to update the software, but we would like the legal refugee have the similar opportunity to live and to serve this great nation as myself. And we would ask you, ma'am, to hold the current administration accountable to rebuild the resettlement program and restore the asylum protection for those who are truly refugee. And in that line of support, we would ask you, ma'am, to ensure that victims of religious persecution receive due consideration for priority resettlement. Because I heard that the Biden administration appeared to deprioritize religious freedom as the most basic human right. So while the Constitution of Vietnam officially provides for freedom of religion, but as you know, in practice, the government imposed a range of legislation restriction on religious practices, such as registration requirement, control board, surveillance, and all religious groups must ask for approval and register with the government to practice. And religious leaders, particularly those that represent groups without official recognition or registration, reported many forms of government harassment, like physical assaults, arrests, prosecution, monitoring, travel restriction, and on some extreme case, property destruction. I'm talking about religious property. So as a result of this systematic discriminations against religion, there are about 1,500 Vietnamese refugees right now in Thailand. And 80% of them have been recognized by the United Nations as victims of religious, mostly by religious persecution. So that is the purpose of our appointment with you today. And I will leave the mic to my colleagues to introduce themselves and express their wishes. And once again, thanks for listening, ma'am.
The next one, I think, on the picture is me on your left, right, Dr. Phan. My name is Tom Ha, and I have met you, Congresswoman, at Tan, my niece fundraiser in Irving, Tan Lee. So welcome again, and I have been a supporter of your campaign and also your office for a long time. I was the Vietnamese American community founder in the Canton County, and I have been the vice president of the Vietnamese American community in Canton County. And we almost have all of us share the same concern like Dr. Phan just mentioned. And that's briefly about me. Next one is Mr. Dan.
Oh, you got to unmute, Dan.
Remind me. Thank you for reminding me that. I'm always forget. My name is Dan. I live in your neighborhood, and we met last 4 weeks ago about Bill
Lamont.
the Mott. Yeah, wonderful meeting. And there is another man, the gentleman I met at that meeting. He wants to host you again, so he tried to call, keep in touch with me, and we can put together another, venue like that. We love to hear anything that you talk about that day. But I'm living in the very close to, I think next door to Mr. DeMont. So I'm here to ask you to help. I have been working with Dr. Tang, Dr. Chong, and Tom Ha, Mr. Kwan here for over 10 years regarding about the refugees in Thailand, especially the Vietnamese has been prosecuted like Dr. Chong mentioned in the introduction. So we are right now helping about 441 families living in Thailand, and they are living in such very hard condition. For example, like the pandemic going on, the country shut down, and nobody can get any food or anything or money to pay for the rent. And as you know, Thailand is not recognized the 1951 Refugee Convention. So whoever working illegally will be arrested and put in IDC. IDC stands for Immigration Detention Center. And we have to bail them out. And recently we bailed out totally 51 individuals been arrested since 2018. So today we ask you to support the Human Rights Act, that Vietnamese Human Rights Act, HR 11.
That's no 3001.
3001. I'm sorry.
Have you seen that?
I'm not,
Okay.
but I will look at that.
I'm not familiar with it, but so but let me look at it.
Yeah, it was introduced by Chris Smith, a very good friend of mine, Congressman Christopher Smith of New Jersey. And this is like the seventh time that he introduced that bill. And it has received bipartisan support. Yeah. Its official name is Vietnam Human Rights Act.
Okay.
And we are looking for co-sponsors to make sure that it has brought enough support that it will be brought out for vote in the committee and then at the floor. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for chipping, Chairman, for that, because I'm working day and night now. I'm a tax, accounting, so I do working 16 hours a day now. So that's all about me. So thank you for your leadership and willing to hear from what we have to say.
And Quang?
My name is Quang Pham. I'm also a Vietnamese refugee. I came here in April of 1975. I left Vietnam around 2 days before the end, that is 30th of April. And I have been a volunteer for translating of the incident report of the suppression of the religious freedom in Vietnam for the last 7 years. So I know quite well what the situation of the victims in Vietnam, most of them following Christianism. And that's why right now in the new refugee quota that President Biden allowed to come here, I would like to emphasize in the situation of those pastors and the leaders of the Christian and Catholic and Buddhist. They are victims of suppression, and they will be arrested with their warrant. And if they go to the court, they get 10 years in prison. So therefore, I would ask your favor to emphasize on putting the priority for the religious freedom of victims. That is number one. And number two, I would like to ask you to support that human right from the House presented by Mr. Chris Smith. And that is HR 3001. And as you know, Mr. Chris Smith has been, for the last 7 years, he has presented to the House, and the House approved it. But when it goes to the Senate, and the Senate didn't have time to look at it. So this time we would like to ask you your support and be sure that the Vietnam Refugee Act will move on and get the approval from the Senate. And thank you very much for your support.
Well, yes, thank you. I'm Dr. Nguyen Đình Thong. I'm the CEO and president of Boat People SOS. We are a national organization based out of Washington, D.C. metro area. We also have a regional headquarters in Thailand. And Mr. Danchan mentioned about working with us to help the refugees in Thailand. Now, most of Vietnamese refugees are victims of religious persecution because their parents fought alongside the U.S. and many of them converted to Christianity. And because that they have been singled out for persecution by the communist regime, which doesn't believe in religion, and they hate Christianity because the Christian church is very well organized, and they view that as a potential threat to the monopoly on power. So we would hope that you can explain to your colleagues that we have seen that the Biden administration somehow conflated refugees with illegal immigrants. Refugees are law-abiding people. We wait in line, and we have been recognized, and we have ties to the U.S., and we don't do anything illegally. We all came as refugees to this country, and we share the same values as Americans, and we truly appreciate our second home here, our country here. So that's different than what is happening at the southern border. It would be very unfortunate if people get confused between the two groups. So we are talking about resettlement of refugees have been waiting for years, sometimes over 10 years already in Thailand. And these people, many of them are related to the U.S. because we fought on the same side during the Vietnam War. Now, the second thing that Mr. Quang and everyone is asking for your support is HR 3001, and that is Vietnam Human Rights Act. It has many provisions, good provisions in there, from protection of religious freedom to freedom of expression, etc., etc. But there's one thing that is very important to us, and that is many of us are victims of illegal confiscation of our property back home. I know that Mr. Ha here just mentioned to me that his wife family lost her home, and that happened in 2003 when the National Assembly of Vietnam just declared that every home that they are under the management, because we left Vietnam, but still belong to us, now become nationalized en masse. So by that time, we all had become U.S. citizens. And under U.S. law, the State Department should intervene. And we've been working with State Department before. There's a legal office there should take up these cases, but they have not. So this affects thousands, tens of thousands of American citizens, and probably the total loss in property would amount to several billion US dollars. So that is something very important for us. Many of our parents, they just want to see justice delivered before they pass away. So this is very urgent. And I know that John Cornyn, the U.S. Senator in Texas, very supportive of this. Last year, he wrote to the president, and now the Secretary of State, Pompeo, urging the State Department to step in and protect the rights and interests of American citizens. But that didn't happen. So we hope that now Congress would take up the cause and push for that, because there's a law about protecting U.S. citizens' properties that are confiscated illegally by foreign governments. Thank you.
Well, and I appreciate that. So I'm familiar with John Cornyn. Senator Cornyn and I have worked together for almost 20 years. So a good man. I hear some of your concerns. I hear some of your desires. Let me tell you what I can't do. I cannot ensure that that this House will pass it and that the Senate will pass it. Out of those bodies, I'm one of 535 votes. I have not yet seen the bill, but I will definitely look at it. I'm not familiar with it, but I will definitely look at it and read it and see if I can co-sponsor. I'll definitely put that up for consideration. Your views, where you are holding right now, folks who are applying for asylum for religious persecution in their countries, that is one of the main reasons why we actually even have the asylum program. I absolutely believe that folks that are in those situations need to be prioritized in our asylum lists. I look at what's happening at the border now. Trust me, I've been down there. I've been down there 7 times, and I see the lawlessness. I see the humanitarian crisis, and I am not on the same page as the Biden administration, nor do I agree. I've been very critical of the way that they have been handling it. Mm-hmm. I think we should go back to the way it was a year ago when folks were applying from the first safe country, which is what many do when they apply for asylum. They need to continue to do that for the exact reasons that you just outlined. The vast majority of people who apply for asylum legally are denied because the situation does not warrant. There's one thing to want to come here and to want to have a better life, and there's another thing to be fleeing from persecution in your home country. And those are the reasons why we have our asylum laws. We need to be paying attention to them. And I believe it is absolutely unfair to put people who just come to the border and expect to be placed in front of the line in front of people who have been waiting patiently and legally. So I can assure you that you and I share those principles, and that I will continue to fight for them. I have to run to a transportation infrastructure meeting now. I apologize profusely. I'm not able to give you as much time as I know I would like. I will promise to look at that bill. I definitely appreciate your time, and Dan. I look forward to seeing you. I look forward to seeing you soon. I will have Ryan reach out and give you some more information about what our office is doing on some of these issues. And if I can ever be of help to you, please feel free to contact my office, and look forward to this just being one of a number of different opportunities to be able to build a relationship moving forward in the future.
We truly appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. And these issues are very important to many Vietnamese Americans in Canton County. Would it be possible that we will establish a communication so that we will bring to your office clear pictures about the problems in Vietnam, and hopefully we'll be able to communicate with your office more effectively in the resolution for this. And Dr. Phan and I are your constituents, as far as Mr. Dan right there. So hopefully in the future, we will be able to communicate directly with your office about these issues.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Ryan Delworth would be the person in my office to feel free to contact him. But like I said, he'll be proactively reaching out to your office.
That's good. Thank you.
You can have his contact information.
Thank you.
All right. You guys take care. Thank you for your time.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Take care. Goodbye.